Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, welcome to my shop. No, I'm just kidding, it's Jay's shop. It's AirDog shop. We are installing AirDog on the Blue Beast today. You want to tell us a little bit about AirDog, just quickly, Jay?
Sure. Yep. So, and we can kind of look through the demo, or I'll show you the demo a little bit later on too, if you want to kind of give you a visual. But basically, the AirDog is going to replace your factory primary. So you have a frame-mounted fuel water separator right now that came from the factory. So basically, that system is operating under suction. So you have a gear-driven pump on the front of the truck that is pulling fuel from the fuel tank through that frame-mounted fuel water separator onto the gear pump, and then it goes on to your injection system from there. So whenever that gear pump is operating under suction, it never operates really within its efficiency range throughout your engine RPM range. So it enables that pump to cavitate and also draws air in with fuel from the fuel tank. And so we're going to correct some of those issues with the AirDog system. The AirDog integrated lift pump is now going to do the work of pulling fuel from the fuel tank. So we're going to be the suction side of it. We have a water separator for large particulates and water that we're going to remove. And then on the pressure side of our pump, we're going to force that air out of the system. We're going to send any of that entrained air and vapor that we pull in with fuel, we're going to send that back to the fuel tank. So it goes on to your gear pump and then onto your injection system is just a super clean supply of fuel, no air in it,
no more
contaminants. Right.
No, my truck does a lot of that. All right, so we're going to get on to installing this, and if you guys want to purchase it, you can purchase one from 4-State Trucks, and you can get 10% off with my discount code OTRB10. And I'm going to show you guys how to install it. Hopefully it doesn't take all day, man, but we'll see. All right, let's get to it, man.
All right.
All right, so AirDog is going to go right here. We're going to take this off and replace it with AirDog. So let's get to it, man. To order your kit, you're going to get pretty much everything. Not pretty much, you're going to get everything for your specific engine. This one is for Detroit 60 right here. But if you have Caterpillar, Volvo, Cummins, everything is gonna come for your installation. Every single thing. We're gonna drain our fuel. And then we're gonna take these lines off. Okay, now we're going to take this other fuel line off, the one that goes onto your pump, factory pump. Right now we're going to remove a factory water separator. You got two nuts and bolts that are going to be 14 millimeters. Let's remove those. So we're just going to get in with 14 millimeter wrench over here on this side, and a socket and ratcheting wrench over here on the inside of the frame rail. All right, and it's off. Vendetta Mechanics hand wipes from 4-State Trucks, and just wipe the frame down a little bit. All right, now we're gonna loosely mount this bracket that comes with the AirDog kit onto the frame rail using this bolt kit that is already provided with the kit, of course. All right, we got some nuts, washers. Let's get it on here, man. See, you got these slots here that are cut out, so you can move the AirDog wherever you kind of please, as long as you don't have a leaf spring hanger in the way or something like that. But I think we should be good to do it just like this. All right, now we're gonna mount AirDoggy dog right here. Perfect fit. Heck yeah. We were kind of concerned that it might want to sit down too low because of where it's mounted. On some Peterbilt 389s or 379s, water separated filter from the factory is right here. we were concerned that it might hit the leaf spring, but with this mounting bracket it does not. They also have different brackets that wraps around your frame, and you can basically move it wherever the heck you want to. Since we know that the AirDog is going to fit here without touching anything, we can go ahead and tighten these nuts and bolts right here, and we gotta use 9/16 to tighten it down. So the bracket is mounted onto a frame rail, and now we're gonna put the AirDog right here. 4 screws like this, 4 nuts, and 4 washers will be provided with the kit. Just put it in there, just like that. Okay. Now we're gonna put a washer on the bottom, and then the nut. This part is much easier to do when the fuel filters are off. Then you just take those off by hand and screw them back on by hand as well. Okay, 11 millimeter on the bottom down here on the nut, and 13/16 on these doohickeys on top, and tighten it down. Alrighty, let's start connecting these fuel lines. We're gonna use this straight fitting first, and it's gonna go in right here where it says engine. First thing we're gonna need to do is put some thread tape on this one, on this fitting. And this one is gonna go right here where it says engine. It says engine right here, and right here it says tank. And it down with 15/16. Next, we're gonna put this 90 right here. Alright, this is the engine fuel line that goes to our gear-driven fuel pump. Just hand tighten it for now. Okay, we're gonna use 1 inch for this. Okay, that's tight. 1 inch for the fuel line as well. Perfect. And then use 15/16 to tighten it down. Now we're gonna get this 90. Just hand tighten it on there for now until we see the fuel line, how it fits on there. Okay, so then we're gonna adjust our fuel line to how we want it. Of course, we don't want it touching anything, and then we're gonna tighten it down with 1 inch. And then tighten the fuel line. Oakley dokley. Alright, so now we're gonna start assembling this return line. This is gonna be our return line. It's gonna go from here over here to the back of the engine on our check valve. And we're just gonna use 15/16 deep socket to tighten this down. Then we're gonna get one of these smaller 90s and just hand tighten it on here for now. I have a factory fuel filter gauge inside of my truck, and that's what this sensor is for right here. We already got that installed in here, and we just gotta plug the wire in here. Okay, this sensor AirDog has if you need it. So now we're gonna come over here on the passenger side, and we're gonna take this return fuel line off. I already loosened it up, so with 7/8. Okay, there it is. So now we're gonna take this T-fitting that is also provided with the AirDog kit, and we're gonna screw it into the check valve, and then the return fuel line will go in here. The factory one will go in on the other side, just like that. I'll tighten that here in a little bit. So now we're gonna take this straight fitting, put some thread tape on it, of course. This is gonna be return line going back to the AirDog, and we're gonna screw it in right here into this T fitting, just like that, hand tightened for now. Now we're gonna take this smaller 90 and this fuel line fitting and screw it on like that. We're gonna tighten this down. So you're gonna take 15 and 18. I'm sure you could use some other size, and just tighten it down. All right. Now we're gonna take this and screw it right in here. I'm still gonna leave everything loose until I run the fuel line over here. This is where the fuel line will plug in, right here. You don't need any clamps or anything. You just put some lube on it and slide it on. I rushed ahead a little bit over here on this side. I shouldn't have put this on first and tighten it down until I do this one. This is it says tank on here. So we're gonna take this off and tighten this down first. That's good. Okay, this is a fuel line that's gonna be supplied. Get some grease. And then we're just gonna slide it on. You don't need clamps for this or anything. Okay. Okay, so we got everything tightened up over here where this chuck valve is. We got this fuel return line over here, and we're gonna have to cut it down to size before we slide it on here. Alright, so I just got a little bit of grease. I rubbed it all on here so that the fuel line slides on easier. And then I just gonna slide her on. We are done with running fuel lines. Now let's go do some wiring. Okay, so this is your harness. You're gonna run this. Don't be too concerned, man. It's not that hard. This is an indicator light that we're gonna install inside our cab. And this right here is the sensor, and it will go right here after we take this plug out. So 3/16 for the plug, and let's remove it. A little bit of tape. On the sensor, and then tighten the sensor down with 11mm. First thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this screw out up here on the firewall, and we're gonna mount that relay for the AirDog harness right here, right above this other relay. This is a starter relay, I believe. Okay, this is the relay and the harness for the AirDog, and it's gonna go right there, just like that. AirDog relay is on there, secured right above this starter relay on the firewall. So don't pressure wash this, okay? So now, on our wiring harness, we have two plugs that are the same. One is gonna say attached to motor, which is gonna go right here. It's just plug and play, buddy, right there. Then this other harness, it's not gonna say anything on there. You wanna plug into this fuel pressure sensor right here. There it is. Now we're gonna leave that here for now. Let's move on to the next step. Now these three wires, the red one and these two wires right here with these plugs, needs to go inside. So let's run that through our firewall inside the cab. On Peterbilt 389 pass-through right here, you got these plugs that you can remove to run air lines inside or wires, whatever. So that's where we're gonna run our wire through. Okay, we got the wires started to go in there. Now let's just pull them on through all the way from the inside. Okay, I think we should be able. Okay, there it is. This is our red one. Now these other ones, let's get them down here as well. Okay, here then. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Over here inside, you want to get one of these doohickeys. Austin with the AirDog already found the power for me, but I want to show you guys. You need to have one of these doohickeys. Put it right there on one end, on the ground somewhere, and then touch these fuses and see which one lights up. Whenever it lights up red, it means there's a power there, but you only want it to light up whenever the key is in on position. Okay, you don't want it to light up whenever the key is off in position or whenever you switch the key to the left. See, whenever we switch the key to the left, it does not light up. Key is in off position, it is not lit up. Key is in on position, it lights up. That's what you want. And you're gonna get one of these doohickeys, I'm not sure what it's called, but you unplug your factory fuse from whatever it is there, and you just plug in this with the fuse. Let me show you guys. So this is what it looks like. You're gonna have two fuses here, one of your factory fuses and another fuse for the AirDog, and then just plug it in. All right, so the next step is going to be to install this light. It is for fuel pressure sensor. You can mount it anywhere on the dash. I'm going to mount it right here into this pillar right there, just like that. I already ran my wires up here, and here they are. Okay, so the light is installed, and now we're gonna put the wires on. Orange wire, it is already marked right there on the light where you want to put the orange wire on, and then put the blue wire on the other side. Just like that. Alright, we got the sensor light all wired up. We'll be able to see it pretty easy if it ever turns on. Now this wire that comes from the harness, this one, you want to cut it down to size, plug it right here into this fuse wire, and then crimp it down. This is your pump start, AirDog pump start wire, I believe. Okay, now this part of the harness we're gonna run to our batteries. Green is ground, red is power, of course. Let's just run it through here to the back over here where the rest of these wires are. Okay, so I'm running the harness to the power, right over here to the batteries, right to the, there's a hole in here in the battery box, and we want it inside there. Okay, and here it is. It's inside of our battery box. Alright, so we're just gonna remove one battery post, and then we're gonna put the power right here. No, that one has enough. We're gonna do it right here, all the way in the back. There it goes. positive. It just slides on there right away. So. And then our ground is gonna go right here. Okay, all of that is on there. I've zip tied the remaining of the wire in the harness and fuse as well. Now let's tidy up all of this over here. And depending on what kind of truck you have, you might have a lot of this harness hanging loose. So just put everything, tuck it in, and zip tie it right over here. All right, let's pre-fill these fuel filters. And Jay's gonna help me out. Let me just turn the camera around, because there you go, buddy. Go ahead. Do we fill them up all the way?
Yeah, just
Okay.
makes it easier for priming.
Yeah, you can lift it up more. Yeah, yeah,
Really
just keep
open the
going.
vent on this thing.
Oh, you gotta, do you wanna open it?
We'll shut off. Okay, that'll help us out.
It'll go quicker. Oh yeah, much better. Okay, good.
Just put a little on the gasket. Just make sure we get a good seal there.
Up here, and just hand tighten.
Hand tight should be plenty. Yeah, those gaskets swell a little bit after tightening, you know, so the hand tightening will be fine.
And it's so easy and accessible. I
Yeah,
can't.
makes it pretty quick and easy for filter changes.
Okay, that's pretty tight. Let's get this other one done. Here, I'll lift it up. This seems pretty heavy.
All right.
Heck yeah. All right, so we're gonna turn the key on for just and let it run for 30 seconds. You can already hear the AirDog pump running. So just for about 30 seconds, right? Something like that.
Honestly, it actually just primed. You can kind of hear that regulator kick in, and it's ready to start anytime.
All right, let's fire it up. So how, when you've had a car or a truck for a long time and you've been running it and you know if something is wrong with it, or you know if something is better with it, well, I can already tell that my truck is running a lot better with AirDog on it right now. It's just amazing, man. Simple little thing. And installation, I can put my money on it, man. Next time, because I was recording, I was taking my time, you know, making sure I do everything right. But next time, on the next truck, if I ever get a new truck, but I don't think I ever will, I don't think it will take me more than a couple hours to do this, man. Probably less than 2 hours. Simple. I mean, you get everything. They include everything that you need. Every single little thing, man. And it's just, everything's pretty much plug and play. You know, these sensors, some trucks will not have this sensor, but mine came from the factory with a sensor like this that has a gauge inside the cab up here. Then you got this fuel line right here that goes onto your gear driven pump right here from the factory. This one goes to your tank, and this one right here that is supplied with the AirDog goes over here to the back of the engine right before the check valve. So simple as that, man, really. And I like the way it looks. I used to change my fuel filter about every 5,000 miles. So I change my oil every 10,000 miles, and my fuel filters I change, you know, once every oil change and once in between that. Well, with these, Jay says that I don't have to do it that often. He said I could do it like every other oil change, and that's gonna save some money on the filters as well. And I'm really excited to see what this thing does, man. I really am. Jay recommends opening this up about, I don't know, every once a week and letting the water drain for about maybe 5 seconds. Just let, if you get any water in there, let it drain for about 5 seconds, then close it up and you should be good. And I was like, man, I wonder, because you know, whenever you get the air in a fuel line, whenever you take the fuel lines off, you have trouble starting the truck. If you were, for example, to change your fuel tanks, you have to go through all these procedures in order to get it primed. Well, AirDog pump right here does everything for you. You just turn the key on for like, and leave it for like 30 seconds, let the pump prime the system, and fires right up, man. No problem whatsoever. Jay sent me off with some extra filters right here. This one is water separator, and this one is fuel filter, of course. Water separator filter, whenever you buy a new one to replace it, do not use this gasket, just throw it away. It does not, it's supposed to go on here, but AirDog does not need it. So if you have AirDog, throw away this gasket before you change the filter. You don't need it. And these filters are made by Donaldson. So these are the part numbers right here. If you do not want to get them, I would highly recommend you guys get them through AirDog. But if you do not want to or whatnot, or like one of them gets clogged up or whatnot, and you get some bad fuel and you need one right away, you can use that number right there to cross-reference it and get filter somewhere else if you want to. AirDog system has a 4-year warranty, so anything goes wrong, give them a call and they'll make it right for you. So simple as that, man. It really is. With that, I want to thank all of you guys for watching. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jay, and his crew from AirDog for letting me use their shop to install this. I usually work on my truck, as you guys may know, on the side of the street, but they were nice enough to let me use their shop, and we got it done. So if you guys want to purchase one, you can get it through 4-State Trucks or any other dealers that AirDog uses. But at 4-State Trucks, you can use my discount code OTRB10 and you can get 10% off on AirDog, as well as any other stuff that 4-State Trucks sells, which is thousands and thousands of different parts. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see all you guys next one. Let's go get this money. Let's save this money with the AirDog. AirDog, they will not promise any fuel savings, but I have some buddies who run this system, and they say that they have seen a good increase in fuel mileage. So I am hoping for that as well, and I think that we're gonna get it, but only time will tell, right? Okay, one more thing I want to point out with this bracket, mounting bracket. If it's not gonna work on your truck, AirDog sells a different bracket. It's a no drill bracket. You don't have to drill into your frame or anything. So in case you get this bracket and it does not work, they got a different one to where you don't have to drill into a frame or anything. You don't have to drill with this one into a frame either. You know, you just use your pre-existing holes and that's it. Simple as that, man. Let's close this hood up and let's go home. Also, one more thing I want to point out, one more thing I want to say. Made in good old US of A, my friend. Right here in Jefferson City, Missouri, by AirDog. That's right. We don't see a lot of American-made products nowadays, unfortunately, but this stuff right here, AirDog, it is made right here in good old US of A, my friend. That's right. That is right, my friend. You ready to go, Mr. Blue East? Huh? You ready to not suck as much fuel as you did before, buddy? Huh? I think you're ready. You are ready, my friend. Let's go get you home, buddy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got Jay right here with AirDog, posted up right next to Gentry and Sons Rooster. Tell us about your product, Jay.
All right, bud. Hey, so yeah, so we're here. We basically have a kind of a compact truck setup here, if you will. So we have a fuel tank, and then our primary filter system, and also have our secondary filter system. So the AirDog basically acts as your primary filter. So going back to the kind of stock form, you have a gear-driven pump on the engine that is pulling fuel from the fuel tank, usually pulling it through a primary filter, goes into the gear pump, and then on to your secondary housing, onto your injection system. So what we do now is the AirDog becomes your primary filter. Our system with an integrated lift pump now does the work of pulling fuel from the fuel tank, and along with that, we're bringing in all this entrained air that's happening in this tank. Now you see how we're sloshing this tank a little bit, not nearly as much as you would be
Not
going
near
down
as
the road,
much as you when you run it down the road, definitely.
Right, but we're also dropping return fuel on top of it and whatnot. So you can see we're trapping a lot of air in that fuel. So that air gets pulled into our system by our lift pump. It's going to go through our water separator. Our pre-filter here is a 35 micron pre-filter, 99.7% efficient at water removal. It pressurizes it, then going to our particulate filter. We use pressure from our pump to basically drive that air out of the fuel. That air is going to be evacuated from our system through a small return line that gets teed into your engine's fuel return right at the side of the engine. So now what goes on to your engine, on your gear pump, it's just a super clean supply of fuel. We're optimizing the pressure feed to your gear pump, just making sure that your gear pump never has the opportunity to cavitate. It never starves for fuel. You know, it's always receiving good positive supply of pressure, so it's never operating under suction, in other words. So you'll notice quicker starts, you know, right off the bat, smoother, kind of a quieter engine idle. Once you get out on the road, you notice a little crisper throttle response. The truck's going to run a little stronger, hold the gears a little better. Going through the hills, you'll see less downshifting required, just a more productive run. Typically pick up some fuel economy. Normally a few tenths is pretty typical, like 3 to 5 tenths we'll tell you can expect. We do hear better than that, but you know, it depends so much on duty cycle and driver. And
you can't promise anything, but believe it or not, I met the guy, he said he got over a mile improvement.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, but that's what he told me.
It can happen. We're not going to tell you to expect that,
yeah.
You know, but it, like I said, it varies so much by duty cycle and driver and whatnot. There's so many factors that go into fuel economy.
Yeah.
So, and you know, some of the older engines, especially like the older Detroits and Caterpillars, probably respond a little bit better than the super efficient trucks of today. But even on today's, you know, common rail high pressure injection systems, we're seeing good results there too. So, yeah, so that's kind of the AirDog in a nutshell. Now on Tim Gentry's truck here, he's actually running both of our systems. So he has the AirDog on there on the primary side. Now on the secondary side, he also has our Champ 2 spin-on system here.
Wow.
So this is kind of like if you took the AirDog system and kind of split it in half and just use air separation only, that's what the Champ 2 is here for. So the difference is, where the AirDog is feeding the gear pump, the Champ 2 is receiving fuel from the gear pump. So your gear pump is, again, doing the work, you know, pulling fuel with entrained air, pushing it to the secondary filter housing. So you can see, we're bringing that air into the system here. Goes into the secondary housing, through the filter. We're using that gear pump pressure to force the air out of the system. That air is evacuated out the side port of our Champ 2 here. So we're sending that air with a trickle of fuel onto the engine's fuel return through our custom fitting here. So that engine fuel is taking that entrained air on back to the fuel tank. So what goes onto your head is just a super clean supply of fuel. No air or vapor in it. It's all about making sure you get the most benefit out of your fuel.
Yeah, and save money.
Save money, that's right.
It's all about the savings.
Yeah, you'll notice that the Champ like really smooths out that kind of choppiness of the engine idle. By taking that air out, making sure at that moment of injection there's nothing but fuel that passes through your injector tip, really saves wear and tear on your injectors.
Heck yeah, I love it. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so much for all the information.
You bet, man. Thanks for your time.
I appreciate it, man.